decision to impair production assets in key markets. Today, I will share our new recovery plan, Re-Nissan, in light of the fiscal year results. Before that, Jeremy will cover the FY24 results and FY25 outlook. Over to you, Jeremy.
Thank you, Ivan. Good evening, everyone. Fiscal year 2024 has been a challenging year for us, and we anticipate that these challenges will continue into fiscal 25 as we focus on rebuilding Nissan. We are taking strategic actions to address performance gaps while navigating market uncertainties. I will take you through our financial results for the 12-month period to March 31st, 2025. Nissan's revenue was 12.63 trillion for the period, down 0.4% year-over-year. Although revenue remained flat, operating profit decreased to nearly 70 billion, impacted by lower volume, a weaker mix, pricing pressure, and increased costs. As referenced in April, these financial results include impairment charges of over 500 billion and restructuring costs of close to 60 billion. Combined, these items, along with the release of deferred tax assets, resulted in a net loss of 671 billion. Later in this presentation, we will address the ongoing recovery of Nissan and additional detail on the necessity of these non-cash impairments and restructuring costs. First, I will go through our performance for fiscal year 2024. Total global retail sales decreased by 2.8% year-over-year, with China volumes nearly 100,000 units lower than the previous year. Excluding China, unit sales were flat. Driven by new model launches, North American sales rose 3%, which offsets declines in other regions. Europe was down by 3%, Japan by 5%, and other markets by 1%. In China, retail sales decreased by 12% as we continued to adjust supply to demand and faced intense competition from domestic brands. For the fourth quarter ending end of March, global retail sales decreased by 5%, with China down by 20%. Excluding China, retail sales in the fourth quarter were down by 0.6%, with nearly 10% decline in Japan, nearly 4% in Europe, and 3% in other markets. The decline in consolidated retail sales was offset by a 5.5% increase in quarterly unit sales in North America. This slide highlights our key financial performance indicator on an equity basis for the full year. Net revenue on a consolidated basis was flat at 12.6 trillion. Last month, the financial outlook was revised, forecasting an operating profit of 85 billion. However, following the final audit process, the operating profit for the fiscal year totaled 70 billion, resulting in an operating margin of 0.6%. Including the impairments of over 500 billion, restructuring costs of 60 billion, and higher taxes, we are reporting a net loss of 671 billion for the fiscal year. Despite the challenges, we continue to invest in new products, services, and technologies which are critical for our future. This led to higher capex of 577 billion and maintaining R&D spend above 600 billion. Net revenue for the automotive business was 11.37 trillion, and operating loss was 216 billion. Due to the negative operating profit in autos and increased capex, free cash flow for the automotive business was a negative 243 billion. Automotive net cash for the period was 1.5 trillion, flat year-over-year. Next, I would like to explain the variance factors for operating profit from the prior year to this fiscal. Against the 569 billion operating profit in fiscal 2023, we saw a positive impact from foreign exchange of 36 billion. The US dollar remained strong. However, this was offset by declines in other currencies. Raw material costs had a positive impact of 13.6 billion. The largest negative contribution resulted from the decline in sales performance, which was down by almost 300 billion. This was due to weaker unit sales volume, higher variable marketing expenses, and some lower after-sales revenue. Monozukuri cost had a negative impact of 7.9 billion, as increased costs for regulatory and product enrichment items, along with other expenses, offset improvements in manufacturing costs, in logistics, and in R&D. Inflation had a negative impact of 106 billion, with inflationary pressures affecting cost-cutting efforts and supplier costs. Other costs, including normalizing credit losses from sales finance and weaker remarketing results, had a negative impact of 135 billion. As a result, our operating profit decreased to 69.8 billion yen. For the fourth quarter, operating profit decreased to 5.8 billion yen. This was primarily due to a weaker contribution from sales, along with higher raw material cost. Having reviewed last year, let us look ahead to fiscal year 2025. Overall unit sales for the upcoming fiscal year are expected to decrease by 2.9% to 3.25 million units. This expected decline, which excludes potential impacts from higher tariffs, is mainly from an 18% sales decline we forecasted for China, while we expect retail sales, excluding China, to slightly grow by 1%. Sales in Japan, North America, and Europe are expected to be roughly flat year on year. However, sales in other markets are forecasted to increase by 6.6% due to expected growth, for example, in Brazil and India. Global production volume is projected at 3 million units, adjusted to a reduced volume outlook to manage inventories. This slide illustrates the operating profit variance analysis for the fiscal year 2025 outlook. Excluding the potential tariff impact, Forex headwinds are projected at 120 billion, with a small positive contribution from raw material. Sales performance is anticipated to improve by 60 billion through better incentive management, supported by an improved car flow management and new model launches in the second half of the year. Better manufacturing cost management, improved logistics, and regional total delivered costs are anticipated to positively contribute to 160 billion from Monozukuri, with cost savings building up as our new plan ramps up. However, these gains will be offset by inflationary cost of 145 billion and other expenses of 45 billion, including higher CO2 emission-related costs. Operating profit is expected to be break-even for fiscal year 2025, excluding the potential impact from tariffs. I will now discuss our assessment of the current situation regarding U.S. tariffs. Our exports from Mexico and Japan account for roughly less than 45% of our total U.S. sales. We estimate that our total negative gross impact before any mitigation is 450 billion yen. However, we aim to mitigate this impact through various measures. On the upper right-hand side of this slide, you can see a list of the measures we are implementing. In Q1, these actions could enable us to mitigate approximately 30% of the expected tariff impact. For fiscal year 2025, we expect net revenue to decrease to 12.5 trillion. The guidance for FY25 operating profit, net income, and auto free cash flow is still to be determined. This uncertainty comes from the potential impact of tariffs and additional restructuring costs, which are currently being assessed. However, for the first quarter, considering the impact of tariffs, we are forecasting net revenue of 2.75 trillion and an operating loss of 200 billion. Auto free cash flow for the quarter is expected to be a negative 550 billion. Following typical seasonal patterns, the first quarter is expected to be our most challenging period. As the year progresses, we expect to see steady improvement driven by the refreshed product portfolio and effective cost reduction strategies. Nissan has a total available liquidity of 3.4 trillion yen. This includes 2.2 trillion of cash and cash equivalents and around 1.3 trillion of auto cash loans outstanding to sales finance companies. Additionally, we have 2.1 trillion in unused committed credit lines that are available if needed, with approximately 600 billion allocated to the automotive business. At the end of fiscal year 2024, our automotive debt stood at nearly 2 trillion, of which about 700 billion matures in fiscal year 2025. We plan to refinance between 400 and 600 billion of this debt maturing. Therefore, we expect to end the fiscal year 2025 and enter fiscal year 26 with total debt ranging between 1.6 and 1.8 trillion. To sum up, fiscal year 2025 will be a year of transition for us, a year of decisions. We have enough liquidity to cover our funding needs, which will support us as we restructure our business. While FY25 is a year of challenges and uncertainties, the actions we are implementing as part of our new recovery plan are designed to yield positive results in FY26. Thank you for your continued support and confidence in our journey ahead. I will now hand it back to Ivan.
Thank you, Jeremy. As you can see, our full year financial results are a wake-up call. The reality is very clear. Our variable costs are rising. Our fixed costs are higher than our current revenue can support. And as Jeremy said, FY25 is a year of transition. So we are taking a prudent approach and keeping our revenue assumptions flat. The reality is clear. We have a very high cost structure. To complicate matters further, the global market environment is volatile and unpredictable, making planning and investment increasingly challenging. Hence, Nissan must prioritize self-improvement with greater urgency and speed, aiming for profitability with less reliance on volume. This is what we're setting out to do with our new recovery plan, Re-Nissan. Our plan outlines 3 key drivers that will help us achieve positive operating profit and positive free cash flow by fiscal year FY26. These are reducing costs to aim for break-even, redefine product and market strategy with a sharper focus, and reinforcing partnerships to complement our strategies. Let me talk through you in detail. Reduce cost. This is the area where we need to go further and faster. With help of cross-functional teams, we have reassessed and scrutinized all the assumptions on which forecasts were based in the past. Given our structural challenges and market conditions, we need to deliver more cost reductions on a significantly larger scale. Our new target is total savings of 500 billion yen, which includes 250 billion from variable cost and another 250 billion from fixed cost. We have increased our target variable costs, and we plan to further reduce these costs in FY27 to achieve a solid and sustainable profitability. Let me now clarify why there are 2 sets of numbers on the screen. We are presenting the targets alongside the most recently announced figures to illustrate the extent of the reductions being implemented. The earlier targets were based on assumptions from the ARC business plan. Now, our goal is to establish realistic and measurable targets based on the actual results from FY24. We will track our progress on these targets and report in a timely manner. To achieve the magnitude of variable cost reduction, we need a dedicated program and task force. We have already established a new variable cost transformation program to realize maximum engineering and cost efficiencies. Another big area is our supply chain. We are rethinking our supply base to ensure more volume for fewer suppliers and increase efficiencies while we do benchmarking. We will also be challenging our internal standards for more practical outcomes. With this, the aim for a 10% reduction is visible. Over 3 years, we will reach 10% with the potential for further significant savings in FY27. The task at hand is very big and very challenging. We need a strong governance model to ensure we identify, execute, and achieve all reductions quickly. Hence, we created a sprint team under our Chief TDC Officer who will directly report to the Executive Committee. We allocated 300 cross-functional and cross-regional experts to divert their efforts and expertise to achieve this goal. We have already organized 66 commodity groups and identified at least 19 different activities. The team has generated already a total of 2,300 ideas, with more than 800 ready for implementation, amounting to 75 billion yen in FY26. Many more ideas will follow, and they will come faster. Additionally, by pausing some advanced and post-FY26 projects, we will be able to reassign 3,000 employees to work on TDC reduction. This will not delay our production start for new vehicles, thanks to our shortened development process. The resources we are allocating demonstrate the importance we place on this area and our commitment to succeeding in this effort. While we work diligently on variable cost reduction, we will seek further efficiencies to reduce our fixed costs. There are several initiatives, but let me highlight some key measures that demonstrate the scale of the actions. First is to restructure manufacturing. This includes consolidating our vehicle and powertrain plants globally, including Japan. This will require reducing the number of our manufacturing plants from 17 to 10 and increasing our utilization rate to 100% in FY27. We will reduce our production capacity to 2.5 million by FY27, with the option to increase it by 500,000 if demand arises. Additionally, we will utilize our partner plants to support production as needed. We have already taken quick and decisive actions, such as consolidating pickup production from Argentina to Mexico, reorganizing operations in India with our partner Renault, and stopping investment in an LFP battery plant in Japan. As part of Nissan, we need to implement further workforce optimization, primarily driven by our plant consolidation efforts. We are aiming for a revised global target of 20,000 people by FY27, with roughly 65% coming from manufacturing, 18% from S&G&A functions, and 17% from R&D and mostly contractual staff. While this decision is essential for enhancing operational efficiency and ensuring long-term sustainability, we will ensure necessary support to affected employees during the transition. In addition to these reductions, we will focus on lowering labor costs and expenses, expanding shared services, and achieving greater marketing efficiencies. In the area of development, we will focus on improving efficiency in 3 key areas: cost of engineering, complexity, and speed. We aim for a 20% reduction in workforce average cost per hour by rationalizing our global R&D facilities and allocating work to the most competitive location within the Nissan global R&D footprint. In addition, we are targeting complexity reduction in two major areas. The first is parts complexity, which we aim to reduce by 70%. The second area is platform reduction. While this takes time, it will help reducing engineering workload in the short term. We plan to cut the number of global vehicle platforms by nearly half, from 13 to 7 by FY35. And regarding speed, we have outlined efforts to shorten development lead times through the family development concept. We have invested significant energy into this initiative, and today we are excited to announce for the first time 3 vehicles that will emerge from this process. The all-new Nissan Skyline, an all-new global C-segment SUV, and an all-new Infiniti compact SUV. Now, here's the timeline for implementation extending through FY27. This timeline reflects our commitment to executing these tasks and underscores our dedication to transparency in our processes. We believe in open communication with our stakeholders, and this timeline will serve as a tracker to demonstrate our progress and the impact of our initiatives. We fully expect to be held accountable for our announcements. Now, I would like to explain our second area of focus, our redefined strategy for markets, products, and partnerships. As previously stated, we understand that a sustainable recovery cannot rely solely on cost reductions. It must also be supported by strong product offerings. To this end, we will concentrate on developing vehicles in core market segments while collaborating with partners to create vehicles tailored for other markets and needs. Here, you can see the segments in which Nissan will develop vehicles and how we will leverage our partners to support other segments and markets. For instance, we will collaborate with Renault in Europe, Mitsubishi Motors in the US, and Dongfeng Nissan in China, not only for the Chinese market, but also for exports. We will leverage models from one of these approaches to cover other markets and explore further business collaboration in the US to adapt to the evolving market environment. We will prioritize markets and products to ensure we have the right models for the right markets at the right price points, aligning supply with demand. This involves establishing distinct strategic positions for each region. In the US, our focus will be on crossovers and SUVs, with plans to offer more hybrids and reinvigorate Infiniti's market presence. In Japan, we aim to renew Nissan's distinct brand appeal while driving up our average price by leveraging larger size models and signature technologies. In China, we will more effectively leverage our joint venture to lower costs and optimize the production of new energy vehicles. Additionally, we will begin exporting our NEV models to markets outside China, ensuring speed, cost competitiveness, and innovative technologies. In the high-growth Indian market, we will renew our product lineup and maximize synergies within the alliance. We have already taken a step in this direction by transferring control of our plant in India to Renault, allowing our alliance partner to assemble next-generation models for Nissan and enabling us to capture export markets. In Europe, we will strengthen our presence by assembling more electrified models in Sunderland, utilizing also our alliance relationship with Renault to take advantage of their assembly lines and electric vehicle architectures. Finally, in Mexico and the Middle East, we will capitalize on our strong brand position to sustain the profitable business we have established in those regions. In very simple terms, all of our product efforts must be aimed at making the heart of Nissan beat stronger. We will prioritize our portfolio investment around 3 key objectives. First, we must retain our core business and current customers by providing vehicles that they value. Second, we will focus on geographical and segment growth to attract new customers in targeted markets. And third, we will enhance our marketing and sales efforts for our iconic models, which represent the heartbeat of Nissan, to reignite customer passion for our brand. We take pride in our heartbeat models, which reflect the true DNA of Nissan. They are defined not just by sales volume, but by their iconic design, engineering ambition, and most importantly, by how they fully represent Nissan's values. Additionally, partnerships will enable us to cover various segments and regions with optimized investments, allowing us to refocus our resources on core project priorities. Our focus on core models will be supported by complementary vehicle development in collaboration with our partners. With Renault, we will enhance our collaboration in Europe, India, and Latin America. We are also working with Mitsubishi Motors and Honda to explore advancements in vehicle intelligence and electrification. Specifically, with Mitsubishi Motors, we are collaborating on pickups and EV battery sharing. We will actively seek business collaboration in the US to adapt to the evolving market conditions. In addition to our partnership projects, we are continuing our strategic review process, and we will provide updates at the appropriate time. We are not only committed to the actions we take, but also to the results they yield. To drive this change, we are establishing a special steering committee to oversee initiatives in all areas. This committee will bring together our best and brightest from both regional and global teams, ensuring comprehensive coverage, visibility, and accountability. I will chair this committee with the support of the Executive Committee of Nissan. I extend my gratitude to our senior leaders and the wider executive team for the dedication to the task ahead, as well as to our employees for their invaluable support in achieving our goals. In conclusion, let me restate that our fiscal 2024 results have exposed the urgent need for Nissan to recover. To safeguard our future, we must go further and faster. We have a mountain to climb from the losses we are announcing today. As our path forward, the Nissan Recovery Plan is an action-based, grounded in reality and driven plan by determined actions. It will not be easy to deliver. It will require dedication, discipline, and hard work in every part of the organization. But I am confident that we have what we need to rebuild our company. We will need the understanding and support from our valued partners and stakeholders, as well as collaboration from future partners. With a shared mission, Nissan people have the skills and ability to return Nissan to its rightful position. As I've stated before, I truly believe there is no competition that cannot be won by working together as one team. Starting today, we build the future for Nissan. Thank you.
Thank you, Ivan. We will now open up for the questions. For people in the room, please raise your hand and our representative will give the mic to you. Those online, please raise your hand on Zoom. After we call you, please do introduce your name and publication and keep one question per person to allow for more questions. Let me start with the first question in the room. Okay, we start right at the beginning. The person in the center, please. Yeah.
東洋経済の方と申します。質問1問ですよね。お願いします。まず日産についてお伺いします。なぜ2万人の人削減ですとか、あと7つの工場閉鎖というのをこのタイミングで決めたのか、経営判断の背景というのをもう少し詳しく聞けますでしょうか。 もともと生産能力の2割削減ですとか、人員の 7% 減、これ、踏み込み不足だとマーケットから見られていたと思います。そもそも全経営体制のターンアラウンドが不足していると、エスピノサ社長は考えたのか、あるいは足元の米国関税の外部環境の悪化がさらに進んだことを受けてなのか、このあたりお伺いしたいです。1999年のリバイバルプランに匹敵するリストラ規模だと思うんですけれども、これで日産の経営を再生できると考えているのか、覚悟のことというのをお伺いしたいと思います。
Yeah, thank you for your question. First of all, what we did as a new management team is to relook at everything that has been prepared before. We look at it very coldly, we look at it with challenging eyes, and we define the need to do more. As you saw earlier by the presentation from Jeremy, our fixed cost structure is something that we cannot absorb with the current revenue. And unfortunately, given the volatility in the market, it is hard for us to absorb this cost structure. Then we had to take more actions and accelerate the actions. Yeah. So this is what's driving the need for us to do more. Are we confident that this is enough? The answer is yes. This will be enough to drive the results that we need, but we need to move fast and we have to accelerate. And proof of this are some of the recent discussions that we have or decisions that we have made, like what we just announced a few days ago on the LFP battery investment that unfortunately we had to give up. Another example is a very quick announcement that we made on the deal with our partner Renault for the India manufacturing footprint. And this is the speed and determination that this new management team has. So we will move with speed, determination, and discipline to secure the results that we are committing to today. Thank you for your question.
Thank you. Next question, please. Go to the center, maybe the person on the second row. Middle row second. Middle row second. Okay. Yeah, go ahead, go ahead.
すみません、読売新聞の向山と申します。7工場の閉鎖について詳しく聞きたいと思います。特に国内工場の稼働率低迷というのが指摘されてますが、この7工場に既存のオッパマや栃木、湘南などの稼働率が低迷している国内工場含まれるのか、これまで国内のリストラには消極的だったっていうふうに見ているんですけれども、今回国内のリストラに本格的に着手された背景なども教えていただければと思います。
Yeah, thank you for the question. Unfortunately, at the moment, we cannot disclose details of which locations we are considering for this right sizing. But as you rightly said, this is including Japan. It's a global assessment, including Japan, and it includes vehicle, but we are also actively now looking at powertrain plants. So in the end, we will come up with a combination of vehicle assembly plant resizing, but also powertrain resizing will come after. And to give you some examples of what we are already done, we have already done. We have already announced Argentina consolidation to Mexico in the pickup manufacturing. We have also announced before the Thai consolidation line, plan 1 to plan 2. And what I just mentioned about the India operation with Renault. So these are the things that we have already done, and there's more to come, and we will inform you in due course. Yeah, thank you for the question.
Thank you. Let's go to the gentleman behind. In the middle row, yes.
日本放送畑中と申しますが、今日はありがとうございました。ちょっと日本市場のことについて伺うんですが、最近の CM では電気自動車や自動運転よりもワクワクを前面に押し出しているように見えます。これは大変理解できます。ただ、先ほど日本市場でラインナップの平均価格の向上、これ、価格はさらに高くなるっていうことなんでしょうか。多くの日本人はおそらく500万円を超える車はなかなか買うことができません。このワクワクというものをですね、どういう人に享受してもらいたいのか、 社長のビジョンを改めて聞かせてください。
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for the question. The strategy to increase the average lineup price in Japan is not via pricing. What we're looking to do is to capitalize on other existing vehicles that we have in the lineup, larger cars that we know our Japanese customers are fond of, to bring them to Japan market and expand our coverage. With this, and also the addition of more signature technologies in the vehicles that we have, we expect to increase the average price of our range. This is the approach that we are taking. So it's not a pure pricing up, but rather leveraging on the product offering and the technology offering in the market. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for the question.
My team tells me we have allocated enough time, so yeah, you can expand to 2 questions. Let me move to the left side, please. Yeah, the gentleman over there.
すみません。日経新聞落合です。よろしくお願いします。国内工場を減らす点で、これはかなり各方面の協議が必要になると思うんですけど、現状の社内やステークホルダー、地元などへの協議の状況ですとか、また現状言えないと思うんですけど、すでにどこか特定の工場を念頭に置いた上で、この7工場の閉鎖に、減らすところに織り込んでいらっしゃるのか、またその国内でいうと、従業員の雇用対策などですね、仮にその実行された場合、このあたりどう考えているか、お話をお聞きしたいです。
Yeah, thank you for the question. Yeah, of course, we have a plan and we have identified a candidate plans for right sizing. At the moment, I cannot share more because there's still the engagement with stakeholders that have to take place. But we have a clear plan to reach to these objectives. Yeah, and your second question was about the approach. Of course, this is very serious, and we do recognize that this is a very painful decision to take. In Nissan, as you know, we have a very strong and firm view about our people. So we will take good care of them. We will manage the communication accordingly, and of course, support any of the employees in the transition as we move forward. Yeah. Thank you again for the question.
We'll take one question from online. I think Katrina from Reuters is there. Katrina, go ahead. Hello, Katrina, can you hear us? Yeah, maybe we'll go back to her. Okay, come to the front row. Yes.
Hi, thanks. Hi, Hans Grammel from Automotive News. Thank you for your time today. When we look at the plan out to fiscal year 27, and you have the capacity kind of boiled down to 2.5 million, what do you think it will be the global sales at that point? Do you imagine that global sales will shrink down to about that same level? What do you imagine sales will be then? And what do you think the operating profit margin would be around that time, given that you've shrunk down the capacity and improved the capacity utilization?
Okay. Thank you. Thank you for the question, Hans. As for sales, as I mentioned in the presentation, we're taking a very prudent approach, expecting our revenue to remain flat. So we are basically attacking the fixed and the variable costs. In terms of capacity, as I explained, you can see we're aiming to 2.5 million, but this is under the harbor method, which considers 2 shifts. This means we have upper flexibility of around 500,000. And then also we have within our sales plans, OEM in programs with some partners that account roughly for 400,000 cars. So this is how we are looking at the capacity to sales ratio, Hans. As for the OP, as mentioned in 2026, our goal is to achieve positive auto OP and positive free cash flow. This means that for FY27, of course, we will be or should be beyond that. We're creating the platform to have a more profitable business in FY27 and beyond. Thank you.
Jeremy, would you like to add anything? Okay, good. We move on to the question online now, if you're ready. Katrina, can you hear us?
Thank you. Thank you, I can. Can I ask, what proportion of your China-made vehicles do you intend to export? And to which markets are you planning to export them?
Well, in the short term, we want to accelerate. I don't have a number to give you, but in the long term, we want to have a balanced volume between domestic and exports. Yeah, so this reference that I give you is in the long term. We want to quickly accelerate the exports of the vehicles that we are preparing there. So far, the two first cars that we have unveiled recently in the Shanghai Auto Show, which are the Nissan N7 and our Frontier Pro PHEV, have been welcomed greatly with great expectation and great support, not only in China, but also overseas. And these are two of the first models that we will accelerate to export, Katrina. Thank you. Thank you for the question.
Thank you. The next question from the middle row, person in the white glasses, please. White glasses.
フリーランスの山本慎也と言います。今日はありがとうございます。日産の復活に向けてのシナリオをいくつかお聞きしましたが、やはりものづくり企業としてはいい商品が鍵になると考えています。で、開発体制の刷新を聞いていると、コストを下げるとか、開発のスピードを速めるとかっていう、いろいろあるんですけれども、そこでお聞きしたいのが、社長にとっていい車とはどのようなものを考えているのでしょうか。最近サーキットとか車好きが集まるような場に行って日産ファンと触れ合う機会もあったと思うんですけれども、そのあたり教えていただけると助かります。よろしくお願いします。
Well, this is a very deep question, and I could probably talk with you for hours on this subject. But for me, the important thing, as mentioned in the presentation, is to bring Nissan's heartbeat back. Yeah, and we're going to do that by leveraging on the core DNA of Nissan, which is exciting cars that make people smile. Yeah, Nissan is a brand that has a lot of fans and a lot of lovers. Yeah, and this is exactly what we have to capitalize on. We need to make more of these cars in order to dress the brand globally. Our engineers, our designers, our product planners are very, very capable in doing so. And this is what we will leverage on, because this is what dresses the brand and this is what drives customers to our stores. Then we can have volume and business-oriented cars, right? But we will focus a lot of energy on creating these exciting cars in order to redress and reshape the Nissan brand. Yeah. Thank you again for your question.
Thank you. Let's take the question from the gentleman in the first row. Yeah.
テレビ東京の阿部と申します。社長にお伺いします。パートナーシップを強化するという方針についてです。先ほども説明ありましたが、ホンダとの協業をですね、今後どのように進めていくとお考えでしょうか。先ほどホンダの三部社長は、日産との協業の選択肢の幅を広げる検討もしているという、そういう趣旨の話もありました。実際にその協業をさらに深めていく考えがあるのか、また経営統合については、社長はどんなふうに考えているのでしょうか。また今いろいろとお話が出てます台湾の鴻海とのですね協業の可能性について社長のお考えをお聞かせください。
Yeah, thank you for the question. As for partnership with Honda, as explained in the presentation, we continue to work with them. You know, we never stop working with them, particularly in the area of vehicle intelligence and electrification. So this is an area that we will keep exploring, but not only, as mentioned also in the presentation, we are actively looking opportunities in the US market, particularly because of the current market situation. And of course, Honda is one of the candidates that we are discussing in order to see if we can find a way forward and have a project together. Now, as for your question on the broader collaboration and the strategic review, as mentioned, the strategic review process is ongoing. We are discussing actively and considering many partners, including, of course, Honda, but not only. This is a very open review that we are doing, and we are evaluating potential partners that will bring additional corporate value to Nissan. The areas of priority for us are, of course, synergies in the biggest markets in which we are present. You can easily imagine this includes Japan, the US, but also advanced technology development, as well as finding ways of having a lighter balance sheet. So these are like the principles we're utilizing in this strategic review. And as we said, we are open to collaborating with multiple partners, as long as corporate value is coming. Thank you for the question.
Thank you. Next question. Could we go to the gentleman there? Yeah.
すみません、共同通信の山口と申します。よろしくお願いいたします。リー日産についての質問なんですけれども、2万人を削減して、車両生産工場を17から10へ削減ということで、これまでその発表してきたリストラ計画の中でですね、9000人から上積みされたりであるとか、あと、世界でその3工場の閉鎖というところからまた拡大されていらっしゃるわけですけれども、今回のそのリストラで日産がその真にそのターンアラウンドするためにはこれでその十分だとお考えなんでしょうか。さらなるその人員の削減であるとか、国内工場の閉鎖であるとか、そういったことも場合によっては今後検討していかなければいけないと考えていらっしゃるんでしょうか。よろしくお願いします。
Thank you. As mentioned, we are confident in the plan that we are laying down today. And this 20,000 workforce reduction is a combination of manufacturing, as explained during the presentation. It's a combination of manufacturing direct and indirect, including also S&G&A resource and R&D, mostly contractual workers. So this is the composition of the 20,000. Is not purely coming from the manufacturing side. And as I said, for the moment, the plan we are confident on, and we will focus on executing the plan. Rather than considering more and more and more scenarios, what Nissan needs to do now is to focus on doing. And this is what we will do. Thank you.
Thank you. We go to the far end. Yes.
Harry Dempsey from the Financial Times. Thank you, Ivan. The question is just around the potential factory closures. Within the factories that you're looking at, are any of the factories sort of sacred cows that you wouldn't touch because of their strategic importance? For example, perhaps the factories in the US, or what about Sunderland? Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for the question. The approach that we have, of course, has a strategic view of the footprint that we have. Also considering to keep certain flexibility, because as we rightly know, the world is very unstable these days, and you need to keep some flexibility to react. And then the other angle that we are taking, of course, is a competitiveness. So using this variables is the way we are approaching, and we approached the selection of candidates for right sizing. Yeah. Thank you again for the question.
Thank you. Next question. The gentleman here, the white shirt. Yeah.
マージャーマーケットの記者の吉田と申します。今日はありがとうございます。先ほどのパートナーをですね、エバルエージ評価しているという話でしたけれども、これについて何か具体的な進展、今のところあるのかということですね。今のプレゼンテーションですと、リストラなりですね、コスト削減なり、プロジェクトごとのですね、パートナーシップにフォーカスしているように見えるんですけれども、そちらの方はプライオリティで、例えば資本提携ですね、を含むようなパートナーシップというのを踏み込むという考えは今のところあるんでしょうか。
Yeah, thank you. As mentioned earlier, we have no detail to share today on the strategic review, but this doesn't mean that we are not working on it. So we're actively looking at it. And as I said earlier, we're looking at any potential actions or measures that can add value to our company. So we are taking a very open view of the world, of the candidates that we have. And of course, we will keep actively developing this plan and come to you with updates when we are ready. Yeah, thank you. Thank you for the question.
Thank you. Next question. Could you come to the gentleman in the front, please? Yeah.
朝日新聞の松岡です。よろしくお願いします。2点あります。1点目が2万人の人員削減の中に国内の人員が含まれるのかどうか、先ほどの工場と同じようでしたら、また改めてお願いしますというのが1点と、2点目が今回の赤字額は過去3番目のものかと思いますけども、25年前にカルロス・ゴーンさんが来た時と同じような問題を抱えていると思います。こういった問題を繰り返している根本のところは、問題はどこにあるのかっていうのを教えてください。当時との違いも踏まえて教えてください。
Yeah, thank you for the question. And as I said earlier, unfortunately, this is a measure that is global and it includes Japan. So the answer to your question is yes, unfortunately, we have to look into Japan as well. And the reason is not something recent. I think you need to take a step back and understand what was happening around 2015 or 2016. Management back then was expecting our company to be a size of around 8 million cars. Yeah. And as such, there were heavy investments done, both in terms of manufacturing capacity, as well as in human resource. And what's happening today is we are just facing the reality of being much smaller than that. So we have to take the reset action if we want Nissan to survive in the future. This is the reason and what is driving these unfortunate actions that we have to take today, which again are unfortunate but are necessary. We wouldn't be doing this if it was not necessary for the survival of Nissan. Thank you.
Thank you. Next question in the middle, please.
西日本新聞の前田と申します。サプライヤーの削減についてお伺いしたいんですが、先ほど社長のご説明の中でより少ないサプライヤーからより多い部品を調達するというような言及もあったかと思うんですが、自動車産業、裾野が広いので、もうサプライヤーへの影響というのも大変懸念されるところだと思うんですが、サプライヤーについてはどれぐらい絞るというか、削減する計画となんでしょうか。以上です。
Yeah, thank you. We don't have specifics to share today on how far we'll go with supplier panel optimization, but there's few actions that I can tell. One, as I said, we intend to reduce the supplier panel, focusing on suppliers that have more competitiveness and giving them more business, because this will be symbiotic relationship that can build positive business for the supplier and also sustainable business for Nissan. The other area that we are starting to put a lot more focus on is looking at our supplier base in China and see what we can learn from their methodologies, and why not inviting them into our ecosystem of manufacturing outside of China. So these are some examples that can help us drive performance, that can help us learn new methodologies, and also use these learnings to share with other suppliers that can improve their performance as well. We're also going to have a much closer relationship with suppliers. As mentioned during the presentation, we are challenging a lot our own internal standards, because there's cases in which the suppliers have great ideas for cost reductions, but we are not adopting them because of our own standards and our own definition. So this is now under Akashi-san's leadership, our new CTO. This is being looked at, and he's very actively chasing this. So this is how we are approaching the supplier question that you just raised. Yeah, thank you. Thank you for that.
Thank you. We have a hand raiser online. Shiraki-san from Reuters, please go ahead. Shiraki-san, can you hear us?
聞こえますか？ロイターの白木と申します。よろしくお願いします。2問お願いします。 一問、聞こえますでしょうか？
Yes,
聞こえ
we
ますでしょう
can.
か？
Yes, we can. Please
Can
go
you hear
ahead.
me? あ、すみません。国内の生産体制のスピノサ社長の国内生産の考え方について教えてください。過去は日産は国内は100万台体制と言ってた時期もありまして、それからどんどん生産規模が下がりまして、今では現状、50万いくかいかないか70万かろうじてというところかと思います。今まで技術の集積地であったり、マザー工場という表現で坂本前副社長もおっしゃっておりました。これからですね、完全な影響もありまして、これだけ17から10に減る中で、国内の生産体制として、どういう位置づけであるべきだと思われていますか？生産規模、または生産車種、もしお考えがありましたら、どういう生産体制が望ましいと思われているのかを教えてください。それが1問目です。よろしくお願いします。
Yeah, thank you. As stressed earlier, we are not in a position to share details today, but you can imagine Japan will remain one of our core manufacturing footprints. Of course, being a Japanese company is no surprise. There should be no surprise. As mentioned before, what we're doing is taking first a strategic view, ensuring that we keep proper flexibility to make front to geopolitical changes that are happening as we speak in the world, but at the same time drive competitiveness improvement and extract the best of our manufacturing footprint that we have today. So this is the approach that we will be taking. Yeah, thank you for your question.
Thanks, Ivan. We have time for a couple of more questions. Who'd like to go the next? Come to that, please.
日刊自動車新聞の中村と申します。今日はありがとうございます。決算について2つお伺いさせてください。関税影響で4500億円という数値を出していますけれども、これのより細かい算出根拠とですね、軽減対策というところをどういうふうに取っていくのか、でまたこの日産のプログラムを進めていくにおいて、どういうふうに関税が影響をもたらしていくのかというところをお伺いさせてください。でもう一点が、通期見通し、今回未定にしておりますけれども、今後、どのタイミングで開場していくのかというスケジュール感を教えていただけますでしょうか。
Okay, so let me start with the second part of your questions, and then I will ask Jeremy to complement, particularly the tariff. So, as for the plan, what you're seeing today in the measures, we are considering everything that is happening in the environment today. So the targets that we're laying down for FY26 are considering what we see today. Now, it doesn't mean that you cannot change because, as mentioned, it's very volatile, unfortunately. But with what we see today, these are the commitments that we are making. So this is to answer your question on the re-Nissan consideration. As for the second and third question, I will ask Jeremy to elaborate on them. Yeah, thank you.
Thanks for the question. So regarding tariffs, as mentioned, and as you can see on the slide, our main exposure are exports from Mexico and exports from Japan. Our total exposure, as mentioned, is 450 billion yen. We are working on a number of mitigation measures. Some are fully in play today as regards where we are focusing our retail sales and how we are leveraging the operations that we have in our North American plants. And of course, we're closely working with our suppliers on further mitigation plans, as the third area of tariff is imports of parts for our US production. And so we're working on all fronts. In Q1, the expectation is that 30% of our exposure can be mitigated. As regards providing a guidance, we thought with what we're sharing today, given the uncertainty that one can have over the overall trade situation and a lot of the work that we are now doing internally, we thought we were providing a good Q1 outlook. I mean, not a good outlook, but a number of reference that clearly can be used as regards our first quarter, with a view that we know, because it is both the seasonal pattern as well as the forecast that we have based on the plans that we're rolling out, that it will be the worst quarter of the year. And so you can see the reference points that we have. Without the tariffs, this company in fiscal year 25 is aiming to be break-even on the COP level. And of course, when there is more visibility, we will absolutely fully provide an updated guidance on a timely manner.
Thank you. We go for the next question. Could we come to the gentleman here?
毎日新聞の客員編集員今澤と言います。日産のガバナンス体制についてお伺いいたします。社外取締役8人の方が来月また株主総会に選任決議案が出ると思うんですけれども、執行の方がかなり変わったのにそのままかという疑問が社内外から出ていると思います。で、イバンさんは、その指名委員会に推薦されたので答える立場にはないとおっしゃるかもしれませんが、来月の株主総会ではそうした質問が必ず出るのではないかと思っています。社外取締役の方に答えてもらうのか、もしご自身で答えられるんだったら、今ちょっとその考えをお聞かせください。
Thank you. Yeah, as you rightly said, I am unfortunately not in a position to answer on behalf of the board, but I believe there's been some statements made by our chairman of the board, so I will kindly ask the comms team to share those with you. And in any case, you can always ask the board members for their position on the matter. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. I did see a hand raised from the lady in the second row. Could you pass the mic to her?
ご説明ありがとうございます。日経アジアの米田と申します。24年度通期の業績のところで 1.5 確認したいんですけれども、4月に業績予想の修正出された時の当期純利益の部分が7000億から7500億円のマイナスっていうふうにおっしゃっていて、で本日出されたところ6709億円のマイナスっていうところで、ここの差っていうのはどういった部分で出てきたのか、ちょっと詳細についてお伺いできればと思います。よろしくお願いいたします。
Thanks for the question. Back in April, we indeed had to provide a net income timely disclosure because our prior guidance had been towards minus 80 billion, and as we were working towards a much larger impairment and restructuring charge, we had to disclose this net income. And at the time, we were using, I would say, the best set of assumptions that we had. And as we went through the process of finalizing all the numbers, you have what these are today. So it's 671 billion of net income net loss for fiscal year 2024.
Okay, please come here. Yes.
フリーのジャーナリストの井上久夫です。2つあります。今回の発表、確かにリバイバルプランと匹敵するような内容だと思うんですが、そのリバイバルプランの時には、当時のカルロス・ゴーン氏はですね、その計画を達成できなかったら経営責任取るということを明言したんですが、今回エスピノーサ社長はですね、そのコスト削減計画なども含めて26年度に黒字化しなかったら経営責任を取る覚悟でいらっしゃるんでしょうか のがまず一つとですね、二つ目が、これはちょっと細かい点なんですが、アメリカなんですけど、その協業に関して、今、日産のアメリカ工場で、ホンダの車を作るようなことは検討されているんでしょうか。以上です。
Yeah, thank you for your question. As for the first question, as I mentioned during the presentation, we are going to be very transparent on the activities that we take. That's why we showed the timeline, because we want not only you, but also investors and other stakeholders to understand what are the actions that we are taking. And we will regularly update the market with this timeline that we showed. Yeah, so this is showing the transparency commitment that we have. And as I said, we are ready to be held accountable for the announcements that we are making. Yeah, so this answers first question. Yeah. And then as for collaboration, as I said during the presentation, we are looking actively for collaborations in the US in order to deal with the environment that is happening there. We already engaged with the MMC. We're starting to explore with Honda as well. And we will keep you updated and share information in due course. Inoue-san, thank you for your question.
Thank you. Do we have any other questions? Over there, the lady in the back.
ご説明ありがとうございます。テレビ朝日の北村です。2点お伺いします。業績が悪化する中で2万人削減、不可欠とおっしゃってたと思うんですけれども、7工場の閉鎖というところもあって、社長としても苦渋の選択だったんじゃないかと思うんですけれども、判断に関する社長のその辺のお気持ちをお願いします。もう一点は関税に関してです。さまざまな対策を講じていていらっしゃると説明受けましたが、先行きが不透明で、長期化する可能性もあるかと思います。その前、現地に工場を新設する可能性があるかなど、長期化した場合の考え方を教えていただきたいというところと、あと、米中とかイギリスとかは、合意に至っている国もあると思うんですけれども、3回目の日米交渉を控える中で、政府にどのようなことを期待しているのかも合わせてお願いします。
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much. So first, the decision, of course, was not easy. It's a very, very painful and sad decision to take. But as I mentioned, we wouldn't be doing this if it was not really, really necessary to do it. Unfortunately, as you have seen the results, the size of a company is just not sustainable. And if we don't do something now, the problem would just get worse. You know? So it was a very difficult decision to take. We did it with the utmost responsibility. And as I mentioned before, we will be very diligent on how we approach the people that will be going through this unfortunate situation. We will take care, as I mentioned before. Then as for tariffs, we hope that the solution can be coming soon. And I guess same as other OEMs, we're expecting that some more reasonable conditions can come and also some stability can come. Because part of the problem is, of course, the situation itself, but the other problem is the lack of certainty. So we cannot plan. It's very difficult to plan in current volatility, and we need to get some stability as well. So these are the two expectations that I have. Hopefully some better conditions, but also some stability and clarity. Yeah. Thank you.
Thanks, Ivan. This will be our last question. Once again, thank you for... Can we take one more question? I think I have one single hand raised. Oh, we have.
ダイヤモンド社の山本と申します。社長にお伺いさせてください。これ、自動車事業の営業利益が26年度、黒字ということですけども、これだけその関税などでかなり環境が不透明な中で、リストラをしたとしてもちょっとできるのかというのがちょっと素朴に疑問に思っていったところなんですが、この時間軸、今年度含めて2年度で達成するみたいな、その時間軸、どういった議論が取締役会などであったのか、そのあたり、社長のお気持ちも合わせてお伺いさせていただければと思います。よろしくお願いします。
I'm not sure I clearly understood your question, but I think you're asking if we can turn positive with the impact of tariff. Is that your question? Or can you repeat? I'm sorry, maybe it was a translation. Can you repeat the question? Sorry for that.
つまり今年2年、かなり環境が不透明な中で2年、今年と来年度で、という短い期間で、営業、利益の黒字化というところを目指すというところで、
Sure.
そのあたり非常に短い期間で達成するという、そのあたりの、焦りといいますか、
Right.
急がないという、そのあたりの趣旨ですね。
I understand. In simple terms, as Jeremy mentioned before, if you remove tariffs, Nissan should be break even this year, FY25. So what's really dragging a lot of the results in 25 is the tariff impact. Yeah. Now we're trying and running to find countermeasures for the tariffs. And so far, we have found that we can offset around 30% of the yearly impact of tariffs, but we will keep bringing actions and measures to minimize the impact. Yeah. And then the goals that we laid down are simply the goals that we need to become a healthy company in the future. Yeah. This is how we went through it. And we set the targets in a realistic fashion by setting these goals and objectives, looking very diligently and into the detail of what can be done, and kicking off immediately activities. To give you again an example that probably we didn't spoke about a lot, we were just focusing on the fixed cost part of it, but the variable costs, as I said, in just a few weeks of kicking off the program, we have over 2,300 ideas generated by a team of 300 people only. These 300 people have brought up to around 75 billion of impact in variable cost already by FY26. And as we mentioned during the presentation, we're having a sprint of 3,000 people focused on variable cost only. Yeah. So you can imagine how serious we are about achieving the goals, the pressure that we are feeling on these goals as management, and why we're channeling a lot of our attention and resources into achieving these goals. So we are determined, we are very serious, and we are going to deliver what we're saying today. Thank you for your question.
Thank you. We really need to close now. Once again, thank you for joining us. And if you have any further questions, please direct them to the Nissan Communications team. We'll definitely get back to you. Have a good evening. Thank you.
す。